Hey Nerd Fam! Hobby motivation tip number 2. Address your mental health first. At its core, hobby motivation is usually in some way related to mental health. It's all part of that same nonsense going on in our brains that, allows you to do all the different aspects of your life. If you're feeling low motivation on hobby, it's very likely that there's other factors coming into play. So figuring out what's actually going on and trying to work out where your issues with hobby motivation are coming from is really important as a early stage step in this process. It's why it's step number 2. Take a break and then figure out what the problem actually is. You can't problem solve if you don't know the problem. And I know mental health is hugely complicated. It is the project of a lifetime, trying to work out what your neurotype is, if you've got any other mental health illnesses that have come on top of that, all the different factors in your life that are influencing that in both positive and negative ways. It's messy, it's long, and again, it is not a quick fix on the internet that anyone can fix for you immediately. There is no tip that will help you to do this in one go. But being aware of it, sitting down and actually thinking about it, writing it out if you need to. Start with your hobby motivation and try and work out what are the different factors that are affecting your hobby motivation and how is your general mental health. Are there things that you need to address, or is it just a mystery box that you're at the very beginning of starting that process of working out what is going on with your brain and how you start to have a bit more control over it? Obviously, I'm not going into all of that stuff here right now. I will go into a lot more of that on this channel in general. That's why I've created this space on YouTube, so we can go into this stuff in a lot more depth than we can in Instagram posts, tweets, all that short form stuff. But in general, looking for resources, obviously, Google it. Google is your friend. Finding a supportive group. We have one with Nerd Castle that you're more than welcome to join. I will put links and everything in the description if you would like to come. We have a lot of just conversation about mental health. A lot of us who've been seeking diagnosis together and going through all that process of trying to work out what's going on with our brains. You don't have to do it alone. So please come join in. Getting professional help if you're in a state of emergency is super important. I am on meds for my ADHD. I also do therapy for other assorted issues, because mental health tends to be a thing where if you've got one thing, you've probably got a bunch of other things that have come out of it. Again, we'll talk about that more in other stuff. But having that first look at your mental health and prioritizing that higher in your life is a really important thing that will then help you to improve your hobby motivation in the long term, rather than just force yourself to paint a bit now or do whatever activity now, because all of these tips don't just apply to hobby motivation. You can use them for any other activity as well. It's just specifically because we all hobby together that I've done them about hobby specifically. The really important thing to remember with all your mental health stuff is these long-term things that will take years. Finding out what's going on with your brain and how to approach it is very, very long-term, very worth doing, but it's not a fast fix. If you're having problems now, obviously emergency problems, contact emergency numbers and things. But in terms of things that will help your motivation immediately, all the basics: sleeping, drinking water, eating food, seeing people, getting the sun on your skin, moving your body around. You don't have to go to the gym. Just go for a walk if you can walk, whatever is possible for your body. Again, that's something that I want to do more of on here, but this is my first ever recording session for YouTube, so we haven't got to all of it yet, but we will. But those very fundamental basics will support you a lot. You've got to remember your brain is a physical organ. Mental health is not some magical thing that happens in the clouds. It is inside your body as well. Your brain is an organ. it needs water. It needs certain things to keep it actually functioning properly. And all of those different aspects of just eating, for example, we've all had being very, very hangry and how much impact that can have on your mental health, not sleeping enough, and how hard that then makes it to do things. So if you're feeling like making big lifestyle changes, changing job or partner or location, any of these things is outside of your current control, nurglings, always causing trouble, then yeah, these basic fundamental parts of physical health will also support your mental health. So I know that that's not so much one tip as like an entire whole area of things to discuss, but it is a really important thing to bear in mind with hobby motivation. So starting from that point of looking at general motivation, general mental health and well-being will then support you to then start moving to the next level where you're feeling able to focus on hobby. So we will move on with that. For tip number 3, love you all lots. Thank you for joining me for the Hobby Motivation series. This video is one of 10 or maybe 11. So if you've only just clicked on, then watch some more of them and it will give you more information about hobby motivation. It would be really good to know your experiences and all your thoughts about hobby motivation, how all these different things apply to you. So please come and share your experiences and your thoughts about hobby motivation in the comments. I would love to know all your input so that I can just learn more about it all and be able to then teach more about it all in the future. And if you've had a good time and you've learned some stuff, then feel free to stick around. I don't know what I'm going to be doing on YouTube, but I hope it's going to be useful and I'm sure I will chat with you all soon. Love you lots. Mwah.